All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Registration for COVID vaccination to all above 18 years of age begins today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asks officials to ensure rapid upgradation of health infrastructure in the country. Centre provides more than 15 crore vaccines to states free of cost. Railways makes available 4,000 COVID care coaches with over 64,000 beds for use by states. More than 14 crore 77 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country. Air India to airlift 10,636 oxygen concentrators from various countries. Government procures over 232 lakh tons of wheat from more than 22 lakh farmers. And Royal Challengers Bangalore register a thrilling one-run win over Delhi Capitals in IPL cricket. As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, take all precautions, and all those above 45 years of age to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news in detail. The registration process for COVID vaccination to all above 18 years is starting today. They will be vaccinated in the 3rd phase of COVID vaccination drive starting from 1st of next month. All those eligible can register on CoWIN portal cowin.gov.in. In this phase, the vaccination will continue as before in central government vaccination centres free of cost to the eligible people, including healthcare workers, frontline workers and all above 45 years of age. During this phase, vaccine manufacturers will supply 50% of their monthly released doses to the central government and they will be free to supply the remaining 50% doses to states as well as in the open market. A report.
No walk-in facility will be available for vaccination in this phase. All above 18 years will need to mandatorily register online on the CoWIN platform. The registration will be done with the help of mobile number. People will have to fill up their details and upload 1 photo ID proof. After that, they will have to schedule their appointment at a center of their choice. On successful completion of booking, they will receive a confirmation message which will have to be shown at the vaccination center. In this phase, center has also allowed states, private hospitals and industrial establishments to procure the vaccine doses directly from manufacturers. With Divakar, Suparna Saikya, IR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has directed officials to ensure rapid upgradation of health infrastructure in the country. Mr. Modi chaired a meeting yesterday with top officials to review the COVID-19 related situation in the country. He got an overview on the situation in the country relating to oxygen availability, medicines and health infrastructure. The empowered group working on boosting oxygen supply briefed the Prime Minister on the efforts being made to ramp up availability and supply of oxygen in the country. They informed the Prime Minister about increasing allocation of oxygen to states. It was discussed that the production of liquid medical oxygen in the country has increased from 5,700 tons per day in August last year to the present 8,922 tons as on 25th of this month. The domestic production of liquid medical oxygen is expected to cross 9,250 tons per day by the end of this month. Prime Minister instructed the officials to work closely with state governments to start the PSA oxygen plants at the earliest. Officers also apprised Mr. Modi that they are encouraging states to also set up PSA oxygen plants. He was also briefed about the functioning of the Oxygen Express Railway service as well as the domestic sorties and international sorties undertaken by the Indian Air Force to transport oxygen tankers. The empowered group working on medical infrastructure and COVID management briefed the Prime Minister on efforts being undertaken to ramp up availability of beds and ICUs. They informed the efforts being taken to break the chain of transmission. The Prime Minister stressed on the need to ensure that specific guidelines and strategies evolved regarding COVID management needs to be properly implemented by the relevant agencies in the states.
The centre has provided more than 15 crore vaccines so far to states and union territories free of cost. The Union Health Ministry said more than 1 crore doses of vaccine are still available with the states and UTs to be administered. India had launched the world's largest vaccination drive on 16th of January this year. The ministry said more than 80 lakh doses will be received in addition by the states and UTs in the next 3 days. The Health Ministry said recently some media reports quoting some government officials from Maharashtra have pointed out that the vaccines in the state had finished, adversely impacting the vaccination drive in the state. The ministry clarified that the total COVID vaccine doses received by Maharashtra as on yesterday were more than 1 crore 58 lakhs. Of this, the total consumption, including wastage, was more than 1 crore 49 lakhs. It said balance of more than 9,23,000 doses is still available with the state for administration of vaccine doses to the eligible population groups. Furthermore, 3 lakh doses of COVID vaccines are in the pipeline for delivery in the next 3 days. The government has stepped up efforts to meet the oxygen supply throughout the country. The centre has imported 20 cryogenic tankers of 10 metric tons and 20 metric ton capacity and allocated them to states to address shortage of oxygen tankers. These cryogenic ISO containers have been imported to augment the transportation of oxygen. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, in consultation with the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, has mapped the allocation to suppliers of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Delhi and Gujarat. India received the first shipment of medical aid from Britain yesterday. The External Affairs Ministry said the shipment includes 100 ventilators and 95 oxygen concentrators. Foreign nations including US, France, Germany, Israel and the EU have promised aid to India in the light of the massive surge in COVID cases throughout the country. The countries have said they will provide oxygen, diagnostic tests, ventilators and protective gear.
The Railways has made nearly 4,000 COVID care coaches with almost 64,000 beds ready for use by states. Railway Ministry said at present 169 coaches have been handed over to various states for COVID care. It has deployed COVID care coaches in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Delhi to assist the states in view of the rising corona cases in the country. In Delhi, Railways has catered to the full demand of state governments for 75 COVID care coaches with a capacity of 1,200 beds. The ministry said 50 coaches are positioned at Shakur Basti and 25 coaches at Anand Vihar stations. In Uttar Pradesh, 10 coaches each are placed at Faizabad, Bhadohi, Varanasi, Bareilly and Najibabad, totaling to a capacity of 800 beds. The ministry said the new demand for COVID coaches has come from Nagpur district. In this direction, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between Divisional Railway Manager Nagpur and Commissioner Nagpur Municipal Corporation. The railways are also mobilizing isolation coaches at Ajni ICD area in Maharashtra as per the state demand. Amidst the second wave of COVID-19, the country has witnessed some respite from a record number of new COVID-19 cases. The Health Ministry said over 3,23,000 fresh cases were reported in the country in the last 24 hours, which is around 30,000 less than the cases reported on Monday. However, the active caseloads in several states and union territories are still rising. As a result, the recovery rate is continuously declining in the country. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Anjan Trikha of AIIMS New Delhi has urged people to self-isolate themselves in case they get infected with coronavirus.
If you are infected and you are asymptomatic, so you have to see for yourself that you don't spread it to other people. So you go into isolation, do not sit with your friends or co-workers to eat food or to have tea or anything else, or sit together and watch a TV on the same sofa. Remain isolated in your room and stop going to your office or your place of work.
Dr. Trikha also advised people to wear masks at home.
because there are a lot of asymptomatic infected carriers in the society. So it is advisable that you remain wearing a mask in the home so that you can avoid getting infected. It is equally important that when you have household help coming into your houses, they should be wearing a mask and you should be also wearing a mask.
News just in, a major earthquake jolted entire Assam this morning. People came out to the streets from their homes out of fear. A few buildings have developed cracks.
ITBP admitted 149 patients at Sardar Patel COVID-19 Care Centre at Chhatarpur Radhaswamy Camp in New Delhi last evening. Almost all patients are in need of uninterrupted oxygen supply. The Delhi government has been requested to increase the oxygen supply so that admissions can be increased. There is a huge influx of patients demanding admission, but the capacity is limited by supply of oxygen. Efforts are on to gradually increase the capacity of the centre. In Jammu and Kashmir, new COVID cases are rising. Out of 20 districts, Srinagar is worst affected. Deputy Commissioner Muhammad Ejaz Asad visited various COVID care isolation centres in Srinagar yesterday to oversee the arrangements put in place for COVID-19 patients. He passed instructions to the concerned officers to ensure sufficient supply of medical oxygen, essential medicines and other necessary requirements at all COVID care centres so that patients and medical staff do not face any difficulty in the time of need. Our Srinagar correspondent has filed this report.
Jammu and Kashmir recorded the highest single-day spike of 3,164 COVID cases. Out of these fresh cases, 1,030 cases were reported from Jammu division, while 2,134 cases were reported from Kashmir division. 25 COVID deaths were also reported in the Union Territory. Srinagar district recorded 1,144 cases, which is the highest since the pandemic broke out last year. Meanwhile, the Srinagar district administration has imposed Section 144 CRPC within the municipal limits of the district in an effort to contain the spread of the deadly virus. Sunil Kohl, AIR News, Srinagar.
Amid a steep rise in the number of COVID-19 cases, the Puducherry Election Department banned all celebrations after the counting of votes on 2nd of May. More details from our Puducherry correspondent.
The Election Commission of India has issued directions for strict compliance by the political parties on the counting day, that is 2nd May. Based on that, the Puducherry Election Department informed that there shall be no victory processions or celebrations of any kind after the counting of votes. Further, it is said that not more than 2 persons shall be allowed to accompany winning candidates or his or her representatives to receive the certification of election from the returning officers concerned. Moreover, the Election Department has extended the facility of RT-PCR testing for the willing contesting candidates or agents from the notified testing center. The sample collection will begin from today. The results will be made available to them by 30th April. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has suggested using services of ex-army doctors and ex-servicemen to deal with the COVID cases in Chhattisgarh. More details from our Raipur correspondent.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh yesterday discussed the COVID-19 situation in Chhattisgarh with Governor Ansuya Uike. He suggested that in view of the present state of corona infection in Chhattisgarh, the services of ex-army doctors, nurses, lab technicians and ex-servicemen can be availed to deal with this crisis. Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel has also welcomed the Defence Minister's suggestion. Governor Ms. Uike said that an action plan may be prepared after the virtual meeting with former doctors of the Army and the ex-servicemen regarding the cooperation expected from them in this situation of pandemic. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
A total of 24,149 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported in the national capital in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 10,72,000. The Delhi government has said that over 9,58,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 17,862 people recovered and 381 deaths were reported in the city.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar spoke to his Odisha counterpart Naveen Patnaik and discussed supply of oxygen. Mr. Kumar said the Odisha CM has assured all cooperation in this regard. Bihar Chief Minister has asked the Health Department officials to convert IGIMS Patna into COVID-dedicated hospital. Meanwhile, fresh cases of COVID-19 continue to rise rapidly. Record number of 12,604 fresh cases were reported in the state yesterday. 136 deaths were also reported. The Gujarat government has imposed night curfew in 9 more cities in addition to earlier 20. With the addition of these, now total 29 cities in the state are under the night curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. The state government has also imposed a series of restrictions with effect from today following a surge in new cases of COVID-19. These decisions have been taken in a meeting chaired by Chief Minister Vijay Rupani yesterday in line with the guidelines issued by the central government. More details from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The new 9 cities where a corona curfew has been imposed from today are Himmatnagar, Palanpur, Navsari, Valsad, Porbandar, Botad, Viramgam, Chota Udeipur and Verawal Somnath. According to the new restrictions, malls, shopping complex, cinema halls, gyms, swimming pools, saloons and spa will remain closed. The restaurants will remain closed for customers, but takeaway services will continue. All religious places will remain closed. State transport buses will run only with 50% capacity. Only 50 persons are allowed in wedding functions, while 20 in funerals. However, all essential services, including grocery, vegetable, fruits, medical stores, milk parlors and bakeries will remain open. Similarly, industries, manufacturing units and construction activities will remain open with SOPs. The new restrictions will remain in force till 5th May. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
India has administered over 14 crore 77 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. These include over 93 lakh 47,000 healthcare workers who have taken the first dose and more than 61 lakh healthcare workers who have taken the second dose. Over 1 crore 22 lakh frontline workers who have taken the first dose and more than 65 lakh frontline workers who have taken the second dose. India had launched the world's largest vaccination drive on 16th January this year. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Registration for COVID vaccination to all above 18 years of age begins today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked officials to ensure rapid upgradation of health infrastructure in the country. Centre provides more than 15 crore vaccines to states free of cost. Railways makes available 4,000 COVID care coaches with over 64,000 beds for use by states. More than 14 crore 77 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country. Air India to airlift 10,636 oxygen concentrators from various countries. Government procures over 232 lakh tons of wheat from more than 22 lakh farmers. And Royal Challengers Bangalore register a thrilling 1-run win over Delhi Capitals in IPL cricket. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alert.
Welcome back to the morning news. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has said that Air India is going to airlift 10,636 oxygen concentrators manufactured by Philips from various countries. In a tweet, Mr. Puri said that such 636 concentrators have already flown in from US to India. He said the consignments are flying in every day and the whole task will be completed within this week. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a conversation with Amir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Asani yesterday. Mr. Modi thanked him for the solidarity and offer of support in India's fight against COVID-19. The Prime Minister also conveyed his gratitude for the care being provided to the Indian community in Qatar.
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari held a high-level meeting with district guardian ministers of all districts in Vidarbha yesterday through video conferencing. He instructed officials in these districts to make arrangements for setting up oxygen plants in big hospitals to meet the ever-rising demand of oxygen amid surging COVID cases in Vidarbha. More details from our Nagpur correspondent.
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has instructed officials of Nagpur and Amravati division to prepare basic infrastructure for setting up oxygen plants in all districts wherein technical assistance required for setting up of such plants will be provided. He said big hospitals like Mayo Medical and AIIMS in Nagpur need to be self-sufficient and care should be taken in the future to ensure that patients do not die due to lack of oxygen. For this, it was agreed in the meeting to set up an oxygen plant in every major hospital. Mr. Gadkari urged all district officials to make arrangements for setting up oxygen plants and providing month-long supply of remdesivir injections, oxygen concentrators, ventilators on war footing. Dhananjay Wankhede, AR News, Nagpur.
In Maharashtra, with 66,358 new cases of coronavirus infections, the total caseload has increased to 44,10,085. 67,752 people recovered from the infection and 895 fatalities were reported in the state. Mumbai recorded 4,014 new infections with the tally reaching 6,35,541. In the meantime, Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation BMC Chief Iqbal Singh Chahal has assured that the Mumbai vaccination program will be rolled out from 1st of May and ruled out any delay. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
BMC Chief Iqbal Singh Chahal said that the BMC has sought 30 lakh vaccines from the state government for the month. He added that the civic body will open 300 new centers in the next few days to cater to the vaccination of people above the age of 18 years. According to BMC data, the total population of people above age 18 is 80 lakh and there are 1.6 crore doses needed for them. Of them, 22 lakh have been covered in the current vaccination drive. The pre-existing 159 centers cater to 45 plus population as per the current vaccination plan. The BMC commissioner informed that the civic body will also set up 16 oxygen plants at 12 hospitals under his guidance. These plants are estimated to produce 43 metric tons of oxygen daily. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
At least 4 patients died in a fire at a private hospital near Thane early this morning. The fire broke out at the Prime Criticare Hospital at Kausa in Mumbra locality and there were no COVID patients in the hospital. 3 fire engines and 5 ambulances were rushed to the spot and the blaze was extinguished. 20 patients, including 6 in the intensive care unit, were evacuated. In Rajasthan, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 has crossed 1,50,000 mark. 16,089 new cases were reported in the state yesterday. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot spoke to the Prime Minister over the phone yesterday and briefed him about the COVID situation in the state. More details from our correspondent.
The positivity rate is continuously increasing in the state. There is no space for new patients in COVID-dedicated hospitals in all the big cities including Jaipur. The government has set up a new COVID care center with 500 beds capacity near Jaipur. The capacity of this center will be increased in the coming days. It is a matter of relief that the number of new cases of COVID has now stabilized in 23 districts of the state. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot reviewed the situation at a high-level meeting last night. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In Assam, educational institutions have been shut down in several districts for 15 days due to the rise in COVID cases. This decision was taken following order issued by the Assam government to close all educational institutes in those districts where total cases exceeded 300. Nagaland government will impose a 2-week lockdown from 30th of this month till 14th of May. State spokesperson M. Kikon said the decision to this effect was taken at a cabinet meeting yesterday.
Noted Odia writer Manoj Das passed away in Puducherry yesterday. He was 87. Born in 1934 in Odisha, he went on to make an indelible mark in the realm of both Odia and English literature. Odisha Governor Professor Ganeshi Lal, Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, Union Ministers Dharmendra Pradhan and Pratap Chandra Sarangi, among others, have deeply condoled the passing away of Das. The government has procured over 232 lakh tons of wheat, benefiting more than 22 lakh farmers. The procurement of wheat has recently commenced in Rabi marketing season in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Chandigarh, Himachal Pradesh, Delhi, Gujarat and Jammu and Kashmir at minimum support price. The Consumer Affairs Ministry has said that paddy procurement in the ongoing Kharif season 2020-21 is continuing smoothly in the procuring states, with purchase of over 710 lakh tons of paddy against last year's corresponding purchase of 646 lakh tons. The ministry said more than 1 crore 6 lakh farmers have already benefited from the ongoing Kharif marketing season procurement operations, with MSP value of more than 1,34,000 crore rupees. In IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore registered a thrilling 1-run win over Delhi Capitals as Mohammad Siraj defended 14 runs in the final over in the Indian Premier League at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad last night. With this win, RCB has moved to the top spot in the IPL standings with 10 points from 6 games. Earlier put into bat first, AB de Villiers' unbeaten knock of 75 runs off just 42 balls helped Royal Challengers Bangalore post a score of 171 for 5 in the allotted 20 overs. Today, Chennai Super Kings will take on Sunrisers Hyderabad in Delhi at 7:30 p.m.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is expected to have partly cloudy sky with minimum temperatures recorded at 19 degrees Celsius. The maximum is expected to reach 42 today. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Chennai will have partly cloudy sky with minimum temperatures recorded at 27 degrees Celsius and maximum expected at 35 degrees. Kolkata again will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to go up to 38 degrees. In the north, the sky will be mainly clear in Jammu, Srinagar, Leh, Gilgit and Muzaffarabad. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius. The maximum will be around 38. Srinagar had minimum of 9 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 28. In Leh, the temperature is hovering between 2 to 16 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was 10 degrees and the maximum will be around 32. In Muzaffarabad, the temperature will shift from 14 degrees in the morning to 35 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. Chandigarh will have partly cloudy sky with temperatures hovering between 20 to 41 degrees Celsius. And in Hyderabad, there will be generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Most of the papers have covered India receiving medical supplies from different countries to fight the pandemic. The Statesman says UK sends ventilators, oxygen concentrators. The paper says India received first batch of medical supplies from UK. The Financial Express states US in mission mode to help India, with the Biden administration removing all bureaucratic hurdles to help India in its fight against the pandemic. CEOs of 40 US firms to assist India fight corona, reports the Asian Age. The Economic Times writes, India Inc. works on getting all employees inoculated. Companies are starting vaccination programs, finalizing tie-ups and sourcing jabs for in-house drives as all adults become eligible. With the day of counting of votes approaching in 4 states and a union territory, Election Commission bans victory marches after election results, writes Hindustan Times. And finally, Union Environment Ministry reconstitutes Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas, reports the Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Registration for COVID vaccination to all above 18 years of age begins today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asks officials to ensure rapid upgradation of health infrastructure in the country. Centre provides more than 15 crore vaccines to states free of cost. Railways makes available 4,000 COVID care coaches with over 64,000 beds for use by states. More than 14 crore 77 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country. Air India to airlift 10,636 oxygen concentrators from various countries. Government procures over 232 lakh tons of wheat from more than 22 lakh farmers. And Royal Challengers Bangalore register a thrilling one-run win over Delhi Capitals in IPL cricket. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.